I think this deep dive is going to be right up your alley. We're looking at citizen-led change up in Wakefield, Quebec.
Yeah.
And it's all based on this YouTube video about something called the Symposium for Change.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you've always been so interested in how people make a difference in their communities, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I was really curious about this.
Yeah.
What'd you think? What stood out to you?
Well, it's fascinating how this symposium doesn't just talk about change.
Right.
It actually empowers people to make it happen.
Yeah.
It connects people, with the resources, the support they need. So they can become, what the organizer calls citizen change makers.
Citizen change makers. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
But what makes this symposium so unique? I mean, there are tons of events that talk about community issues.
Right.
But this one seems to be getting real results.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not just talk.
Yeah.
They've set up this platform for people to present their projects.
Okay. Gain media attention and even secure funding.
Wow.
Take the 5th Symposium.
Okay.
One project there caught the attention of Wakefield's mayor.
Really?
Led to a meeting at City Hall and potential funding from philanthropists.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Is that typical, though, or is that just a lucky break?
It's definitely a testament to their approach, I think.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is the organizer's philosophy.
Okay.
He believes that change requires 3 key elements: thought, emotion, and action.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little.
Sure.
I mean, those sound pretty basic on the surface.
Yeah.
So can you give us a deeper understanding of why they're so important?
Absolutely.
Especially in the context of this symposium.
Okay, so think of it this way. You might have a brilliant idea, right, for improving your community.
Okay.
That's the thought.
Right.
But without the passion, the drive, the emotion,
Right.
it's probably going to stay just an idea. So you need both the head and the heart working together.
Exactly.
But even then, it's still not enough. Right?
You got it. You need that third element, action.
Yeah.
That's where the commitment comes in, to take those thoughts, those emotions, and translate them into actual change. And the Symposium for Change, it facilitates that, providing the resources, the connections, that platform for action.
That makes a lot of sense. I got to say, though, the cynic in me wonders if adding music to the upcoming symposium is really necessary.
Music.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Is it more about creating a vibe than fostering real change?
Well, it's easy to be cynical, but I think it's a clever strategy.
Really?
Yeah, music has this incredible ability to connect with people emotionally, right? It can create a shared experience.
Okay.
Amplify those feelings of passion, motivation.
Right.
The things that are crucial for driving change.
Okay, yeah, I see your point. Music can be powerful. So tell me more about the types of projects that they present. The video mentioned one that was focused on a service that everyone in the community will eventually need.
Yeah.
What kind of service are we talking about here?
Well, they were pretty vague about the specifics, which makes me even more curious.
Right.
But it shows that the symposium isn't just about, flashy projects.
Okay.
It's also about addressing those basic everyday needs that are essential for a thriving community.
That's a good reminder that change doesn't always have to be this, revolutionary thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes the most impactful solutions are the ones that address those practical, everyday issues that impact people's lives directly.
Absolutely.
So besides this mysterious essential service, what other kind of projects can we expect at the upcoming symposium?
Well, they mentioned several other projects,
Yeah.
some aimed at catching the attention of local politicians.
Interesting.
Those are probably more practical, solution-oriented projects, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Focused on things like local services, infrastructure, maybe even community safety.
So it sounds like the symposium really tries to cover a wide range of issues.
Right.
Both the practical and the more visionary. But how do they make sure that these projects actually lead to real change?
Yeah.
Not just discussion.
Well, they've got a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
And the organizer himself has experience affecting change at both the provincial and municipal levels.
Oh, wow.
He was actually involved in a successful campaign to prevent water fluoridation in Gatineau.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how this symposium could be a model for other communities,
Oh, absolutely.
looking to empower their citizens to become these change makers.
Uh-huh.
But what about the average person, right, who isn't a politician or a community leader? Can they really make a difference?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think the organizer of the symposium would say absolutely yes.
Okay.
In fact, that's the entire premise behind this event.
Yeah.
To show people they don't have to wait for someone else to create change.
Right.
They can be the change makers themselves.
I'm really starting to see the potential here.
Yeah.
This isn't just about one event in a small town, is it?
No.
It's about a mindset shift, recognizing that we all have the power to influence the world around us.
Exactly. And the Symposium for Change, it's like it provides a framework, a roadmap, for turning that potential into action. But attending the event is just the first step.
Right.
The real magic happens when people take what they've learned and apply it to their own communities.
Yeah.
So as you hear about these different projects and the organizer's experience, I want you to think about what resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
What issues are you passionate about? What changes would you like to see in your own community?
That's a great point. It's not enough to just be inspired by others.
Right. Yeah.
We have to ask ourselves how we can be the change makers in our own lives.
Exactly. And remember, change doesn't have to be monumental. It can start small. It can start with you.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. It's inspiring to hear about the organizer, and his experience.
Yeah.
That water fluoridation campaign in Gatineau shows that even when you're up against powerful forces, citizen action can win.
Absolutely.
But I wonder how much of the Symposium for Change's success can be attributed to Wakefield itself. It's a small, tight-knit community.
Right.
So maybe that makes it easier to build momentum.
Yeah, that's a good point. The sense of community in Wakefield is definitely strong, and that probably does help.
Right.
But I don't think we should underestimate this model. I think it could work in other places too.
Really?
Yeah, the key ingredients are everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Passionate people, pressing issues, and a platform to connect the two.
Right.
What's fascinating here is the structure. It's intentional. It's not just a random bunch of people with ideas.
Yeah.
The organizer created a framework that helps people turn those ideas into action.
Okay.
And I think that's replicable anywhere.
So it's like a recipe for change.
Exactly.
You bring together these essential elements, you follow the steps, and the result is a more engaged citizenry.
And a big part of that recipe is tapping into that emotional aspect.
Okay.
It's not enough to just present facts and figures.
Yeah.
You got to connect with people, inspire them,
Right.
make them feel like they're part of something bigger.
And that's where the music comes in.
Exactly.
It's about creating an atmosphere of shared purpose and energy.
Yeah, but how does that translate into action, though?
Right. People can get caught up in the moment, right?
Yeah.
But does that feeling last?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
To keep that momentum going and make sure the inspiration turns into real-world impact. But that's where that third element of the organizer's philosophy comes in.
Okay.
Action.
Right.
The symposium doesn't just leave people with a good feeling.
Yeah.
They give them resources, connect them with mentors, potential funders.
Wow.
And help them develop real plans.
So they're not just lighting the fire.
Right.
They're giving them the tools to keep it burning.
Exactly.
Let's get back to those projects for a second.
Sure.
We talked about the one focused on an essential service for the community.
Yeah.
And the ones designed to appeal to politicians. It's powerful. It's not just about raising awareness. It's about providing a path to solutions.
Exactly.
But it makes me wonder about those projects that maybe don't have a clear path. What about unconventional ideas?
Yeah.
The ones that challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
Do those have a place at the Symposium for Change?
That's a great question. It brings up a really important point, I think.
Yeah.
The symposium's success depends on balancing the practical with the visionary.
Okay.
It's not just about solving problems, it's about planting seeds for the future.
I see.
So yes, those unconventional ideas absolutely have a place.
Okay.
In fact, they might be the ones that lead to the most profound changes.
So it's about embracing both the small steps and the big leaps.
Exactly.
And the organizers seem to get that right.
They do.
They've created an environment that supports both.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the responsibility lies with the individuals.
Right.
With the citizen change makers.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest takeaway for someone attending the symposium?
I think it's realizing they're not alone. They're surrounded by like-minded people who share their passion.
Okay.
And more importantly, they're empowered with the knowledge, the resources, the connections to turn that passion into action.
Yeah.
The Symposium for Change doesn't have all the answers, but it gives you a roadmap.
Okay.
To finding them, to navigating change, to becoming an agent of transformation.
It's like that old saying, it takes a village.
It does.
And the Symposium for Change is creating that village.
Yeah, that supportive environment.
Right, where individuals can come together and realize their potential.
Exactly.
But it all starts with recognizing that potential within ourselves.
Right.
So as we go deeper into some of these projects and the experiences, I want you to think about what change you want to see in the world. And what small step you can take today to move in that direction. It's amazing how the Symposium for Change makes a space for those, like, unconventional ideas.
Right. It's like true progress comes from those who think differently.
Yeah, those who dare to imagine something new.
Exactly. But, we got to remember that not every idea is going to be a hit.
Oh, for sure.
Some projects fizzle out, some take years, and others, well, they change completely along the way.
That's a good point. The road to change isn't always straight.
Nope.
There will be setbacks, detours, but that's part of it, right?
It is.
I think that's important for those who want to make a difference.
Yeah.
To be tough, to adapt, and to focus on the journey, not just the destination.
Absolutely. And it seems like the organizer gets that.
Yeah.
He encourages people to see their projects as experiments.
Okay.
Like opportunities to learn and grow, even if they don't succeed right away.
So it's about creating a culture of trying things out, of learning, where failing isn't a bad thing, but like helpful feedback. That's so cool, especially in a world that's obsessed with the results and scared of messing up.
Totally. It's about shifting the focus,
Yeah.
From individual wins to learning together. The Symposium lets people take risks, share what happened, and support each other when things get tough.
It sounds like that sense of community is a big part of it all.
It is.
It's not just about individuals, it's about building a whole movement.
A network of change makers, yeah.
Right, who help and inspire each other.
That's how real lasting change happens.
Yeah, not alone, but together.
Exactly, through collaboration and support.
The Symposium for Change really shows what can happen when people work together towards something good.
And it reminds us that we can all be part of that change, no matter who we are or where we're from.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Symposium for Change, we want you to feel inspired.
Yeah, think about what you can do in your own community.
Remember, it all starts with a question. What kind of world do you want to live in?
Right. And then what's one small thing you can do today to get closer to that?
Maybe it's going to a meeting, volunteering for a cause, or even just talking to someone who shares your passion.
Every journey starts with a single step, right?
It does.
And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one inspiring others at a Symposium for Change in your own community.
That's a great thought to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Symposium for Change.
Thanks for having me.